I'm going to see if I can. Hi, beautiful people. There we go. Before, but I can't figure. We know there are people out there, we just don't know who yet. So we've still got 5 minutes until we officially get going. So for those of you who are just joining, just as a reminder, we're running this in webinar mode. It is recorded. So that means that tomorrow we'll get a link for the recording so that you can come back and visit us in Belize anytime you want before February. If you're on Facebook checking in right now, we're joining you from Sattva Land Retreat Center in Belize. Renee and myself are here planning our February retreat for yoga teachers and wellness professionals. We are hosting a live webinar simultaneously, but we thought we'd pop on here on Facebook as well for anybody who wanted to jump in. Today, we'll be discussing international travel to Belize, working with retreat center partners, and get to meet the owners, some of the owners of Sattva Land Retreat Center as well. So if you want to stick around, our webinar begins at 11 a.m. this time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern currently. So we've got about 4 minutes left. In the meantime, and we're having a beautiful day here in Belize. It's cool for some in August. It's like in the upper 70s this minute, so it's pretty wonderful. Yep. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them into the chat below. Looking forward to connecting with all of you. And same goes for anybody on Zoom. We'll be using the question Q&A feature. So if you have any questions throughout the broadcast, I have another computer right here, so I'll be tuning in with you and answering any questions that we have. And yeah, we'll take it from there. So we'll give it just a few more minutes to see who else joins us, and then we'll kick it off. Oh, hi, Kimber. Hi, Kimber. Hi, lovely human. It's nice to see your name pop up. Thanks for being here. Hope you're feeling well. We're going to give it just a couple of minutes to keep going before we get started. Right. I'm just on my phone. Allow. Okay. We're going to give it just a couple more minutes before we get started to make sure that we got everybody in who gets to be here today. We're joining you live, of course, from Sattva Land Retreat Center in beautiful Belize, where it is a balmy 70 something today, probably stickier by my house in Florida right now.
Yeah, really. Look, I got my hair down and everything. It was warmer the last few days, but today's been just gorgeous. Started with some rain this morning, but it paid off.
And Kimber, would you give me a thumbs up if you can hear us okay? For anybody who's in attendance? Maybe. I'm not seeing this, but.
All right.
All right, so we've got 1 minute and then we'll go ahead and get started. Hi, Mary Jo, welcome in. So for those of you who are joining, I have two computers up, one so I can monitor Q&A. So we will go ahead and I'll keep tuned into that so that if you have any questions as we go throughout the webinar, you can ask them and we'll either address them over the course of the discussion or we'll save some time for Q&A at the end, and you'll be able to drop those in the chat and we'll answer them live or in the chat. Today, we'll tell you who we are and what we're doing here in Belize, and then we'll also talk about Belize as a travel destination and all the easy things about how to get here. We'll talk about the beautiful space that we're in, which is Sattva Land Retreat Center in 20 gorgeous acres of rainforest in Belize. And then we'll talk about the retreat itself, the content you can expect while you're here, pricing, accommodations, all that fun stuff. And then we'll end with a Q&A. We have two special guests today as well, which are the owners of Sattva Land. You'll meet Sam Combs and Julia Garofalo, who have been living and working here at Sattva Land for the better part of the last decade, making it the wonderful center that it is. So welcome in, Steve, as well. Nice to have you here. All right, want to kick it off, Denver?
Yeah, welcome.
How are you?
Welcome. My name is Denver Clark, and I have been a yoga teacher for over 16 years. Owned my own studio, managed a retreat center, and led teacher trainings, probably, I would say about 50 to 60 teacher trainings in my day. So I've walked the path of teacher, studio owner, manager, toilet scrubber, all of the things, teacher training facilitator. I'm a yoga therapist at ERYT 500, a continuing education provider for Yoga Alliance, children's yoga teacher training as well. Yoga is the thing that saved my life and continues to enrich it every day. And sharing that with other people has been a passion of mine for the minute I stepped foot on my yoga as a teacher by nature. I know also that walking this path can be a little bit lonely sometimes, especially if you live in a location where you're removed from other teachers. My first yoga studio was the only studio within 50 miles up in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Georgia. So I didn't have a lot of community there to connect with. I had a lot of students who didn't really know the ins and outs of yoga yet. I had to bring that to the space. So I know what that feels like. I also know what it feels like to be simultaneously a yoga and wellness professional and a business individual, and how sometimes those two hats can get in the way of one another, and really trying to find a way to balance the two and lead a sustainable and heartfelt business, but also make sure that I can stay in business. And that's really difficult for all of us to do in this industry as well. So I'm coming here with all of you from the love of yoga and being an individual who's just been trudging through business ownership for many, many years. But I'm joined by my incredible, amazing, talented, lovely, one of the best friends you could ever have in your life, Miss Emily. So
Hi.
tell us who you are.
My name is Emily Penfield Daly, and I come at yoga from a different path, or this whole entrepreneurial journey from a different path. My background is in hospitality. I've been in hotels and tourism for the last almost 18 years now. The back half of that has been in marketing. So I've been focusing on developing brands, business plans, running and growing small hotels to large corporations that manage lots of hotels. So I come to it from the hospitality and business side, hospitality business and marketing side. I got my yoga teacher certification from Denver with our friend Kimber, who's joining us today. Back in 2020, I think I started it and finished it in 2021. I'm now a 500-hour registered yoga teacher. I also am a certified digital marketer and a certified hospitality digital marketer, and I have a certification with the Global Sustainable Tourism Council. So having all of that in my back pocket, when I came to my yoga teacher training, I was so surprised that there was seemingly a lack of resources around business management for these wellness professionals, because this is the message I feel like we should be getting out, right? Like this, to Denver's point, yoga was the first tool in my toolbox when I was in middle school, and was something that has helped me stay connected to myself as I've grown as an individual and as a business owner as well. And some of my biggest cathartic awarenesses on my entrepreneurial journey actually came out of my yoga training as well. So being able to offer a space that marries my love of this side of things, wellness, sustainability, cultural sensitivity, with my business acumen and marketing smarts, just felt right. Being able to offer this to a community that I feel is underserved, whose message is perhaps the most important to be able to get out, one of balance, one of self-love, one of outward love, one of equanimity, was so important to me. So that's one of the reasons why I am so excited to be collaborating with Denver on our Entreprenew program.
I think another thing that really was important was the fact that the universe brought together two individuals who are supportive of others, honest and giving. There are so many templates and ideas and resources that you freely share with me that have just touched my heart and made me feel really taken care of and seen. And when we are business owners, and then also in a world where yoga is now a very large industry, it can feel a bit competitive, a bit isolating, a bit lonely when people do what we sometimes call gatekeeping about what their processes are. And so we came together with the idea of wanting to support individuals who own studios, who are yoga teachers, who are wellness professionals, in a place that is full of love and support and guidance and
Genuine generosity.
genuine generosity. And so bringing individuals together from the pool of people that I know and have trained and met all over the world, and the pool of people that you know in the same vein, in one location where we can share ideas from states and countries and all of our different backgrounds and experiences, because we all have a unique experience. We have a unique perspective. And being able to just come together in partnership and community and have those discussions about what are the issues that you have, what are your struggles, what are your fears, what are your concerns, what are you really excited about? What have you done in your business, in your marketing, in your personal world that helps you balance life and work and yoga and continuing to walk the path? And how do you deal with all of that? And being able to come together and get those ideas from other people in the industry is invaluable. And to do it in an intimate nature with a small group of individuals, not necessarily in a big convention center, which is also lovely. We really want to build a community around Entreprenew, and we're very excited for this inaugural retreat that we're doing in February from the 6th to the 11th, which is the best time of the year to be here. It's even beautiful now. It's August. It's the hottest month of the year. It tends to be in the upper 90s now, but here we are in beautiful cross breeze, enjoying the weather and the natural pool below.
Denver, we were having discussion about whether to do a national or an international retreat. And I think we both decided that going international, we had to do that first, or we might both have chickened out and not done it. But there's a lot of really beautiful international destinations. We could have chosen India. We could have chosen Costa Rica, which is huge for yoga retreats right now. Why Belize? And from the perspective of somebody who had never been before, how did you find arriving in Belize?
I have traveled my whole life alone. When I was 5 years old, my parents were divorced and my father lived in New York and my mother lived in Florida. So they stuck me on a plane and they sent me at 5 to New York City. Obviously, there was an adult there waiting for me at the gate. So traveling isn't as intimidating to me. It's the international travel that I have never done alone until sort of this trip, except there wasn't a gap between our flights. You arrived about 5 minutes after me, so I didn't really have to be alone. But the idea of leading a retreat and having an adventure, right? Being able to go outside of our comfort zone. One of the things that yoga's really taught me is to sit with my discomfort and to dig deep for the bravery and the openness that is inherently in me, but all of the things that other people ask and say about what I'm about to do sink in and create doubt. And so setting the doubt aside And when we had that discussion, should we do stateside or abroad, I really thought we need to jump in head first and just have an adventure. And so the idea of coming to Belize, which is just a short jump from where I already live in Florida, in the season, we could go directly from Tampa or Orlando, I believe, airport right down here in a direct flight. That makes travel easy. Also, as a parent with two young, small children, it's difficult for me to leave for a long period of time. As a business owner, but it's very difficult to leave for a long period of time and not be worried about what's going on at home. So being able to travel in 3 hours to the destination, have a 1 hour time difference, and still be able to function and get as much as we can out of the time that we're here was incredibly important to me. In addition, the fact that when I've traveled to other locations, I've been to India, I've went to Europe, I've been to Cancun on my honeymoon. The idea of the intimidation factor of navigating the airport. Yes, you can get transportation from the airport, but what is it like to get through the airport? And I've been to places where you have to be very careful and keep your bag next to you at all times. I've been to locations where in Europe, you know, you walk out of the airport and they're grabbing your bags, trying to get you in a taxi to take you wherever they think they want to take you. And so that's a little intimidating as someone who hasn't done a lot of international travel, especially not alone. Belize Airport was so easy and simple. There are 2 turnstiles for baggage, so you can't get lost. Because English is the national language here, all of the signs were in English. I got off the tarmac, walked in, got my bag, and was able to get through customs in a total of 10 minutes. It was really simple. And then walking out of the airport, I was concerned about being bombarded with people because I've had that experience traveling to other locations, and that simply wasn't the case. Everybody was really kind. They were waiting for individuals that they were already contracted to wait for with signs, just like if you fly into Atlanta Airport and you have transportation from there. And we walked directly across the street in 5 seconds to rent our car. And that was a really easy and pleasant process as well. We rented from Crystal Car Rentals here, which was highly recommended to us by Sam and Julia, who are part owners of the retreat center. And they said good things about the retreat center too. They knew we were headed, and it just felt like coming to a place where everybody is already connected and family. It just was very welcoming. So I was thrilled, not only for myself and my experience, but for anybody who might be intimidated or a little on the fence about international travel, about traveling alone, about how to get to your destination and what that's like. So it really was perfect dipping your toes in the water of the adventure.
And I'm really lucky to have been able to travel to Belize before. And I have, like Denver, been a long time solo traveler. Mine all came through business travel. So for the last decade, I've traveled all across the country, usually twice a month, by myself as a female traveler. I've taken international trips by myself and trips all across the country, coast to coast, Florida, California, Maine, Alaska last year, so all over. So I'm pretty comfortable with travel, and I'm pretty comfortable with international travel. And I love meeting people where they're at when they travel, because again, I, as a single female traveler, have traveled by myself a lot. And many of my friends are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you do that. So finding somewhere for Denver and for all of our people who would be coming in, all of our participants, I wanted everybody to be able to safely explore something outside of their comfort zone. One of the things that people might expect if they have heard of Belize in the past, first of all, let me tell you, Belize is in the Caribbean Ocean. It butts Guatemala and Mexico. So Mexico to the north and Guatemala to the west. And it's Caribbean Ocean to the east. So it is the 2nd largest barrier reef on the planet, behind Australia and ahead of Florida. Beautiful snorkeling if you choose to extend your trip. One of my favorite places I've ever snorkeled in my entire life, and I've snorkeled in 7 countries now. And it has beautiful, lush tropical rainforests on the west side of the country where we are right now. It has rich, beautiful cultural heritage. One of our excursions, not to jump too far ahead, but one of our excursions is going to be to a Mayan temple. So it's a beautiful destination to get to, all of the stunning things you love in a compact little space. Because Belize had formerly been a part of the British Crown, you heard Denver mention that their national language is English. Another great thing about it is that they accept US dollars here. So while they use a Belizean currency, everybody accepts US currency and you'll get change back in US and Belize. So it's usually a mix. And it's a simple 2-to-1 ratio. So for every $1 US, you get 2 Belizean dollars. Costs are totally, I mean, like really good. Our breakfast here is inexpensive and you don't have to worry about that because that's included here. But anywhere we go to stop to get something, prices are extremely reasonable. But I always check the State Department and their travel advisements for any country that I'm traveling to. And there are states in the United States that have stronger travel advisements by far than traveling to Belize. So it's a very overall extremely safe country to be in. They, for anybody who had heard about Belize while there was turmoil in the country a couple of decades ago, during the time where they were going through the revolution and civil disputes, that has all mellowed out. It's really a lovely tourist destination. They're focusing a lot on tourism, and most specifically, they're focusing on ecotourism. So ensuring that they're preserving not just their environment, but the cultural heritage that's here in the country. So Belize was just a perfect destination from that perspective. What's the weather like? You mentioned that we're here at the hottest time of the year.
Yeah, the high is in the high 90s and the low is in the 80s. But because we're in an eco retreat center and there is no air conditioning, when we first arrived, I thought, oh no, what have we done? But that's because we've been running around outside in the heat, driving our rental car, which you won't have to worry about, right? But when we got into the room, there's open air windows everywhere. Everything is beautifully screened. We have not had a bug problem at all. Nothing near what I get in my backyard in Florida. Really.
My screened-in porch is more porous than the facilities here.
It's been beautiful, really. And so we sleep with the windows open at night. We get the sound of the rain, which we may not have as much of in February, but it really is beautiful. It was off at night. I think it was 74, 75 when we woke up this morning. It's been overcast. And because we are in the jungle, the tree cover cools everything down to about 10 degrees below what
the ambient
is on the beach. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's been really pleasant. I can't wait to come back in February where it's even more pleasant. You may even want a sweater for nighttime in February.
Yeah. So for those of you who have are joining us from somewhere like Florida, you know that in our winter months, the humidity is cut tremendously. So usually this time of year, like Florida, Belize experiences high levels of humidity. We're in the tropics. So you're looking at 80+% humidity. In the winter, you might be at 50% humidity. Daytime temperatures are still beautiful and warm. So you'll still be looking at nice 80-degree days, warm enough to go in the natural pool and enjoy a swim. But it cools down so much at night without that humidity. And as Denver mentioned, we have amazing tree cover and beautiful cross breezes throughout the entire facility.
It's the toucan up there. I wanted to go toucan.
There's a toucan. You should have done it. Where'd it go?
It flew away.
Oh, I missed the toucan. Well, okay, so we're in a tropical jungle, amazing flora and fauna and creatures all around. Like the toucan I just missed, thanks, Denver. But the weather in the winter is going to be beautiful. So daytime temperatures in the winter, like I mentioned, are in the 80s. Sam, our one of the owners here, mentioned that the temperature can get chilly in the winter down into the 50s at night. So again, we experience that in Florida. It won't get anywhere near as cold as we get in Florida, but we could be experiencing temperatures in the low 60s, high to mid 50s. At night. So beautiful sleeping weather, beautiful daytime running around weather. It's going to be so great. And it's we hadn't specifically mentioned that to Julia, and we were like, we'll be back in February. And she was like, oh my goodness, that's the best time of year to be here. Like everybody that we've mentioned will be back in February. Is like, that's a great time to be here. Well, my customs agent, when I was coming through the airport, I was like, have you ever been to Belize before? Yes, I have. I'll be back again in February. She's like, oh my gosh, that's the best time to be here.
Well, and we were eager, I don't want to say anxious, we were very eager to book these specific dates for that reason. So I'm very proud of us for doing that before anyone else took those dates. So like we mentioned, from the airport, we did choose to rent a car because we're here on a little bit of an excursion trip. But when you come, if you're joining us for the retreat, all of your airport transportation is taken care of. So all you have to do is go to one of 2 turnstiles, pick up your bag, take the short jaunt over 5 steps through customs. That was so simple and easy and lovely. And then you come out and you're gonna have 2 airport pickups on arrival day. So an earlier one and a later one, those times will be shared so people can book their flights around that time. And then the drive from the airport is about an hour and 20 minutes. It's a pretty straight shot to get to the retreat center. When we leave, we'll be leaving together in one shuttle to the airport on the final day at around 8 or 8:30 in the morning local time, and we'll all go together. So it's pretty simple and easy. Everybody takes care of you here. And then when we walked in on our arrival day, as you will experience, we were greeted with fresh coconut water with lime.
Melissa, just before we started, was in the kitchen. We're in the middle of a permaculture food forest, which means that it's a self-sustaining forest. There's a number of types of plants that fertilize each other and don't require irrigation, and it's a wonderful system. They grow coconuts here on property, lots and lots and lots of them. So they harvest both coconut water and they also make their own coconut milk here. So we were coming back to get ready to start this, and we hear Melissa whacking away with her machete in the kitchen, getting ready to make fresh coconut milk.
Yeah. And so you feel very welcome. It's absolutely beautiful to arrive, very tranquil. It's just incredible. The owners of this retreat center are of Italian descent. And so the craftsmanship of all of the buildings and structures is just absolutely beautiful. And the food too, as well. So they make sure that the quality of that's good too. So when we arrived, we'll be greeted with some fresh coconut water at the main center where we have the kitchen, the restaurant where we're sitting now. Also the natural pool and an area where we can relax by the pool, and the yoga studio, which is upstairs.
And public restrooms, if like me, after an hour of travel, you need to use the ladies.
Yes, absolutely. So all of that's right here. You'll get checked in. They'll load your bags up into one of 2 cars, and then they'll drive everybody just around the corner. It's easier to navigate than bringing your luggage through, the gravel road. But the walk to each location where we're staying is about 2 minutes or 3 minutes, depending on which house you're in. It's very easy. So they'll drive you and your luggage over to your room, get you settled in. You'll be able to set everything up the way you love it, open all the windows if they're not open, turn on the fan, put your things in the bathroom, check it out. And that's it. I mean, it's pretty easy arrival.
The cool thing too about Sattva Land is that the facilities here are great. So you've heard a little bit about what Denver mentioned, but let's just talk through what the facility looks like. Sattva Land is set on 20 acres of tropical jungle. They use sustainable farming practices, as I mentioned, for their permaculture garden and their food forest. So we are surrounded by banana trees and coconut trees, and there's several bananas that are in fruit right now. We got to have one of the last mangoes. Sam jokes that there's one mango tree that's like one of the oldest mango trees. He calls it the big mango. And it shows off because it's the last one to produce fruit. So all the other mangoes happen in June, and we got the late big mango, which is great. So completely surrounded by edible food forest. We are currently sitting within the restaurant space where we'll be having all of our meals. The main facility is just across a little covered pathway, just a few steps in this direction. You can probably hear the natural pool just outside and the waterfalls that feed the natural pool. And then around us there's some accommodations, different buildings that people own here on Sattva Land. And then behind us up the road is where the garden cabin and the Shala cabin are. Garden house and the Shala house are. But there's also another garden up there as well. Their core food permaculture garden where they grow annuals and things like that. They have a chicken coop there, so it's fresh eggs every morning. There are also about a mile of jungle trail that goes throughout the deeper areas of the jungle along the perimeter of the property. So if you like a good hike or a good walk to clear your head and reflect on what you've been learning, there's ample opportunity to do that across the property as well.
And the waterfall.
So
it's a 10-minute drive or a 20-minute walk through the jungle trail to a natural waterfall. So if you're looking to be very inspired, take a little bit more time to yourself or with a group of people, it's a really beautiful experience as well.
Yeah.
Swim, you can wade in the water and stand, or if you're a good swimmer, you can swim right up to the waterfall and go underneath it and cleanse yourself with any of your work stress that might be at home or family stress. I don't know.
We'll get to meet Sam and Julia here in just a few minutes, but we'll go through what the accommodation types are. So there's two main buildings that we're currently offering for the retreat. So one of them, as we mentioned, is the Shala building, and the other is I keep saying building or whatever, but it's Shala House and Garden House. In the Garden House, we have two different accommodation types. We have a single accommodation queen size bed, so a room with just a queen size bed if you want to be by yourself.
Christina has that one.
Yep, so that one's spoken for already. And then that Garden House also has 3 different rooms that have 2 single beds in each. So those are all shares. I love the Garden House. It's my favorite building on the property. We did a full property tour yesterday. We'll be posting photos and videos of all of that as well. So keep an eye out on the yoga teacher support /Entreprenew 2025 page, and all of those will be listed. Those are my favorite, in part because I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. That is the heart of Sattva Land. So that building was the first building that was put here. We were in the kitchen facility at that building, and Julie was talking about how her mother used to cook in that kitchen and all the kids would be there. She moved to this property a long time ago. And that was a family space for them. Every member of the family has at some point or another lived in the Garden House while they've been developing their individual family homes throughout the property.
Adults, 3 adult children and their grandchildren have lived in there.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful house, and it's so unique because it's in the middle of the oldest part of the permaculture garden there. And one of the things I like about it is it really embraces you feel embraced by Mother Nature right around you. That facility has just a few steps from the front door are the bathrooms facilities, and they use a composting toilet. There's 2 styles of composting toilets here on property. One is a traditional flush toilet that you'd experience in the States. And the other is this style of composting toilet. It's a dry compost. It's a beautiful facility. And it's a really cool way to experience a connectedness with nature. And then my favorite thing about that facility is the shower facility. So there are 3 shower stalls that are private. They close so nobody can see you, but on the back side of the shower stalls, they're open to the forest. So it's completely uninhabited back there. There's nobody going to be walking by. There's no pathways back there, but you get a full view of the jungle while you're showering. So if you've ever heard of the benefits of forest bathing, this really takes it to a whole new level. It's so cool.
Also, there are 3 degrees of modesty is what Sam said in the shower. So one shower has a wall that comes up to about here on me, which is probably where I would start. And then the next one comes down to about here, which is where I might get brave enough to go, even though there's no one in the jungle or the forest, nobody can see you. And then the last one is completely open. So depending on,
I'm going ankle height from the beginning. I might just go and shower in one of those just for the experience.
Of course,
it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
And then so that's the garden facility. There's also just a few steps out of the back door from there, there's a communal dining space, a small round table. It's a great place to sit and reflect. They also have a lovely communal front porch and a library hallway inside, a nice wide hallway with communal seating as well. And there's a small kitchen facility out back as well. Everything will be taken care of for you while you're here. But you'll be able to, that's a great place to have tea or coffee in the morning if you wanted before you walk over to the main building, or again, reflect on your own. It looks like, Steve, you have a question. If you would drop that in the Q&A, I'm happy to address any questions that you have. We'll talk about pricing a little bit later on as well, just so that you all know. And then the second facility is the Shala, where we stay. Denver, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so that's the newest accommodation. It feels a little bit more resort style. It's in the jungle without being in the jungle. So in the Shala building, you have a connected bathroom to your bedroom. There is one king room with a king size bed and an additional bed. So great for a single individual, or if you want to come with a friend, we just split the beds. I slept in one and you slept in the other. You could even bring 3 people. If you're a studio owner and you want to bring 2 people with you, that would be a great shared space. That space does have a kitchenette where you can have coffee and tea, put any leftovers in the refrigerator as we did, and a desk and a table and a couch. And then all the bathrooms for that facility are the same. The other 2 rooms are going to have 3 singles in them, so they're shared with 2 other people. Again, 3 rooms, and each room has its own bathroom. So just like any other hotel you might stay in, you go into the bathroom, there's a vanity, there's a gorgeous walk-in shower. And then there's a composting toilet. And the difference between that and any other toilet is that we don't put the paper in the toilet, which really is best for the environment anyway.
Yeah.
So there is really simple, easy, the sign to remind you, we put the paper in a separate box, flush the toilet as usual, and go on your way. So if you're looking for an experience that feels a little bit more Western traditional hotel room like, then the Shala building would be for you. But I'm all about an adventure, so stick me in the jungle.
And the one thing that I want to point out about the Shala Cabin King as well is that it is a kitchen. So stovetop, full refrigerator, and you've got all the accoutrements. So in theory, you could cook, but please don't come empty stomached. Melissa cooks such good food. You do not want to be like full when you come here.
No.
It is our thrill and pleasure to welcome to the screen Julia and Sam of Sattva Land, owners and
over here.
facilitators of their own retreats here, and you'll get to meet them while you're here on property. So welcome in. We've got our live streaming people on Facebook here. You might want to turn the Facebook live so that they can see Sam and Julia. So Facebook, I'll be back with you in a second, but you should meet these beautiful humans. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us for a few minutes. I so appreciate it.
So happy to be here.
We got a chance to walk around the property yesterday, and I can't tell you how many times you were going over the story of Sattva that I just like to look at goosebumps. It's so beautiful. It makes my heart feel so happy. So I just wanted to introduce everybody to you. So if you would just tell us, who are you? And when we're all here for the retreat, what role do you play for retreats and stuff?
So I'm Sam. My official role here is as general manager, but I'm kind of like a Guy Friday, Mr. Fix-It,
All the hats.
all the hats. But basically my main focus is just to make sure that these are magical experiences, and do my best to hold space for the space holders.
That's a beautiful way to phrase it. How about you, Julia?
So my name is Julia. I'm one of the founding members. And well, I have many roles here as well, as you know. But I would say my main focuses are in both the ground and sort of regenerative agriculture aspect of the project, and which ties very closely into the relationship between that and our Sattva food, our food offering. And so I'm also responsible for curating the menu and the beverage experience for you guys while you're on these transformative travels. And I'm also kind of, parsed out in all the other places wherever I need to fill in.
And I want to point out as well, on the final night of our retreat, we'll be experiencing a traditional Mesoamerican cacao ceremony. And Julia is the facilitator of that. And if I'm not mistaken, that ceremonial cacao is grown and produced here on property. So we really get to experience all of the wonderful benefits that Mother Nature has for us while we're here at Sattva Retreat Center.
Yeah, that's right. Sam and I are also chocolate makers. We own a chocolate company here in Belize. And so we are very happy to transform that from the ground up. And it's an extremely special thing. And it's one of our favorite things to share with the people who come along our way. And I think I forgot to say one of the important things about it too is that I am a sounds therapist, and that's one of my main offerings. And I love to share that with folks here as well.
We're unfortunately going to miss the kirtan that they are going to be hosting here on Sunday.
Tomorrow.
But we got to hear them rehearsing for the kirtan last night, which was really a nice way to end the day for us after a long day of running around and getting content. How long have each of you been here on property at Sattva Land?
Why don't you go first, since you've been here the longest?
So I've been here for 10 years now. And it's hard to believe that, but yet it also feels longer than that sometimes. So it's quite a chunk. I feel like I'm sort of really graduated into the Belizean immersion.
Yeah, so I met Julia about a year into the project's existence. She and I actually met in Nicaragua at a center similar to Sattva, a little more of a rugged place, but that's where we initially found each other. And then about 2 years later, I reached out to Julia to see how things were going, and she said, "Why don't you come and find out?" And So that's what I did, and then I've been here since 2017, so that's almost 8 years.
And spoiler alert, Julie did a great job of drawing Sam down. They have now 2 beautiful children together, who you'll hear running around the property as well, exploring all the, Oso was with us yesterday, helping give a tour of the property and spraying all the bugs that came in our bath, so it was great.
Yeah, I mean, so in my background before coming here was in outdoor education and outdoor adventure. So, you know, relocating from New York, which is where I'm from, to here, I still felt at home.
Yeah, that's wonderful. How long has Sattva Land been here? Has it been the full 10 years that you've been here?
Yes, exactly.
Wonderful. Can you tell us just a little bit about the growth of that journey? Like, what did it start with and how was it here?
Yeah, so I think I shared a little bit yesterday. Basically, when it was initiated, as far as the land project, it was 20 acres of virgin rainforest and 6 acres of abandoned orange orchard. So it was pretty much bare ground aside from the ecosystem itself. And we just began implementing infrastructure. I mean, we had to also implement the water system, the electrical system, you know, all the bare necessities. And that on its own, you know, building something from the essentials up is just it's just an incredible experience. You know, there's really no words for it, but it just gives you such a deeper appreciation for life and the ability to have all those crazy comforts that we have that are so much beyond what we actually need. And so we, for the first few years on that more sort of simple infrastructure model, we functioned as a work, trade, and volunteer hub. And we were also very forward on our sort of permaculture growing grounds. So we were mainly getting help for that, as well as some creative and small construction projects that we were still implementing. And we continued with the sort of, you know, construction and for several years after that, we are still building some of the things. And we officially opened as a retreat center, which was our original aim in 2019. So we had
Great timing.
Yeah, great timing.
Great timing.
it was also the year that also went forward. So there was a lot going on for us. There was a grant initiation. But it was a great year to open, even though, you know, we didn't know it was coming. But we really started off with a bang. We had an amazing, I think, 3 or 4 retreats before COVID came. Right?
Well, yeah, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had, and then we had some return from that 2019 season, had already rebooked, like, so we had like January, February retreats in 2020, and then.
Yes. And then it got shut off.
Yeah. But then, you know, the interesting thing is that we had at that point attracted enough attention to the way that we were living and sort of what we were bringing to fruition here in the jungle, that we were able to pivot at that point and sort of expand our offering to like development of houses for people that wanted to come down and live this eco village kind of in the rainforest life with us.
Mm-hmm.
And now, you know, fortunately, we've attracted members that understand that at the core of what we're doing is this retreat center.
Mhm.
And so, you know, we have other families that live here part-time, full-time, but everybody kind of comes in and holds space for the retreats that still happen at the center of our offering.
That's beautiful. And that's a great segue to my final question for each of you is what is your favorite part of what you do here at Sattva Land?
You want me to go?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite part is that I get to put into practice so many of the things that I love to do myself, right? And so, you know, I'm a singer-songwriter, so, you know, Kirtan, for example, being able to share that with others and, you know, kind of witness the transformative capabilities of song in people, you know, because a lot of people come there like, oh, you know, I'm not a singer, and then you know, we sit down together in a group, and all of a sudden, by the end of the time, you know, they are singing their heart out and just like so present and so alive. And so you get to witness that on a regular basis, and to be a place where, to me, to be at a place where people are sort of drawn to and they're coming to do that. What do you got?
Beautiful. I love that. And I will, yeah, I was sort of adding to that a little bit, that inherent desire for people to come here ready to be transformed, I think is a very important and specific quality to all of this. So, you know, for somebody to have that intention to want to step into it for that reason makes all the difference, and it opens up that channel. And so for us to be able to receive people in that way and guide them through that transformation is continuously regenerative for us. And it's just a beautiful thing. And for me, you know, the thing that I love most about being here and having access to this project is the accessibility to the wild and nature, and just to be in a system that is greater than myself, and one that I can absolutely not take control over, no matter how much I would like to try to. And that's just refreshing, you know. And nowadays, again, with the comfort and systems we have put in place, it's crazy that we have to actually go out of our way in a modern world to get a sense of this. Whereas here, I have to get out of, you know, I have to get out of my way to try to find something more, you know, more curated and comfortable. So I really enjoy that that's not my day-to-day experience.
Yeah, that we come here to retreat, and this is what you wake up to every morning. I love what you said about that it's regenerative to your spirit. I think it goes really deeply into the whole ethos of Sattva Land just in general. It's not just about the nurturing of the earth and the regeneration of the earth. It's the gifts that regenerative process gives to you. So thank you so much for spending time with us and for creating this amazing space where we can be surrounded by the love and comfort that is inherent in all of us as humans, inherent in all of us as beautiful earthlings, and the really being able to connect deeply with the relationship that we have with Earth, because we absolutely have to be there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Well, we cannot wait to welcome all of you down in February to be able to meet Julia and Sam yourselves. Thank you,
everybody.
Thank you guys. Hope to see you here very
Yes,
soon.
we're very excited. We're very lucky to be in you gals' hands. Thank you.
So if anybody has any questions for Sam and Julia, you can always drop them in the chat. Yes, Steve, fortunately or unfortunately, there is cell service and they have Wi-Fi. So it is, because we are in the middle of a rainforest, of course, there are days where we have, like, we coming down to the main space here, we found this time for a couple of the days that we were here, the service was really great right here. We're on Zoom with you right now. We couldn't be, I had satellite connection in Florida that in an afternoon storm, I can't do Zoom. We're just fine. Yes, there is cell service. It's better in some of the higher areas. Thank you both so much. It's better in some of the higher areas. But Denver and I were both able to make calls. You get, if you're coming from the United States, they have Digicel here, and they have a relationship with all the major carriers in the United States. So depending on your phone plan, I have Verizon Business, and it's set up such that when I go to another country, it automatically loads me into a international pass. It's a 24-hour pass. It costs a certain amount of money. It's added to my bill automatically. But I've had up to 5 bars of service, and it's 3G here. So we're not getting 5G LTE. It's just 3G. So you're not going to be able to, I don't know, watch a movie, but you'll be able to check your email if you need to, and also call your loved ones.
Yeah, also, we're gonna be setting up a group WhatsApp. WhatsApp is new to me, but the beauty of that is if you need anything to your room at all, if you went for a walk to the waterfall and now you're too tired and you don't want to walk back and you want somebody to come and pick you up. If anything like that happens, emergency or otherwise, you can drop that into the WhatsApp app, and we'll be able to respond to that. All of the facilitators and the property owners, Sam, the manager, will all be included in that as well. So you never have to worry about getting lost in the jungle or being alone or any of those things.
Great question, Steve. I was talking to my husband on the phone yesterday and commiserating that it's annoying how good the cell service it has become internationally. I'm finding it progressively harder to actually disconnect, like leaving work and wanting to leave my laptop behind. It's helpful to withdraw those electronic senses that I have so that I can really just focus on the experience. And any bars of service means I'm tempted to get back on that phone. So yes, there is cell service here. Your choice though, if you want to turn your phone off the whole time you're here, more power to you. I think that's a fabulous idea. You really get to immerse yourself fully in the experience of the sounds of the toucans calling to each other in the afternoon and not the sounds of the dings and beeps of your phone calling to you in the morning.
Yeah.
So
let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing in February while we're here.
I do just want to take a quick moment to talk about what is an eco retreat center. So we've covered a lot of that here. You've heard Sam and Julia talk about it as well. It's foundational to what Sattva Land is, but we just want to make sure that we're really clear about what your expectations can be while you're here. So the two biggest things that are going to be different, and if you've traveled to retreat centers across the planet for other yoga retreats, or maybe you did your, your own 200 or 300 hour in Bali or India or somewhere like that, Costa Rica, this will be old hat for you. But because Sattva Land is meant to be regenerative, and the fact that they follow a lot of Ayurvedic practices and the foods that they consume, and their connectedness with nature, they do not use artificial air conditioning on the property. It won't be a problem for us in February. As we mentioned, the temperatures are fabulous, but we just want to make sure that anybody who's used to sleeping in that like artificially cold ice box, they do not provide air conditioning here, which is honestly been extremely comfortable.
Yeah.
Again, like we mentioned, great cross breezes. They have fans in every room.
Once you go in the natural pool or cool off with a shower in the middle of the day, and you bring your core temperature back down, and this is August. It's the hottest time of the year.
Right. No beads of sweat on my face.
Mhm.
It's been great.
Yeah, it's really been quite pleasant, and I think that I will miss this when I go home. The first day I had an oh no moment. I forgot no AC. And by the end of that day, when we went to bed, it was perfectly fine. So you do have to get out of your own way and remind yourself that whatever your attachments are from a yogic perspective, the purpose of a retreat is to remove yourself from this, is to release yourself from the attachments to, I have to have this to do this. I have to have this to sleep. I have to have that to this, because that's simply not true. Right? And so what a beautiful way to experience that. So no air conditioning.
Yep. And the other thing that we've already mentioned is they have two types of composting toilets here on property. One is very similar to what you'd experience in the United States. It's a normal flushing toilet. They use a different style of septic system here than what we use in the States, in that it's not treated with artificial chemicals. So the traditional bleached toilet paper that we use in the States isn't meant to break down in these systems. So that's the only difference. You do what you normally do, you clean as you normally clean, and the paper products or any other products go in a bin next to it where they're disposed of appropriately, and you flush as normal. The other, as we mentioned, is the composting toilet. You keep an eye out on that. It's fun to experience. It's set in a normal facility. It's just a normal door thing, close the door. Yeah, normal building, normal toilet seat. The only difference is that when you're done using the restroom, you use scoops of sawdust and you pour that into the facility, the composting section.
In place of flushing, not in place of wiping.
In place,
Wiped as normal.
wipe everything goes into the facilities itself, and then you add the scoops of compost. Because it's a really active microbial system, there's no odor at all because it's active. If you've ever had a compost heap at home, you know that a really well working compost has a warm, loamy smell. It doesn't smell rotten or putrid or gross at all. So there's no odor there at all. It's fantastic. So those are the two major differences with this eco facility. Other than that, the food's going to be better than anything you've ever tasted in the States. And that's it. So moving on to what we have coming on for the programming. Denver, how do you make this a business expense?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. I love being at work in the Belizean jungle. We are providing all attendees with 20 continuing education hours for the programming that we're doing while we're here, which includes sort of a spiraling outward of information. Every day has a theme. You'll begin with finding your authentic voice as a teacher and an entrepreneur. And what does that mean to you? How can I project forth my beliefs what is important to me as an individual and not get locked in the trap of being an influencer or thinking I have to do all of these things to be a successful business owner or teacher, right? You're not just a yoga teacher, you're a yoga teacher and a filmmaker and an editor and a writer and all,
marketer.
yeah, all of
And a
these things.
CEO.
And so what is the message that you want to put forth? What's truly authentic to you as an individual? So we start with an experiential, really lovely ceremonial experience of that, finding your voice. And then we move on in the rest of our programming to how do I take that voice? How do I find who I am and shine that forth as what makes my business unique? What makes me as a teacher or a business owner a unique individual, and share that with other people, so that you draw exactly the type of students and clients you want to work with, and there's harmony there. And so branding and marketing in a style that is appropriate, but also effective, which is why we have you to give us some guidance and templates and all of these really incredible resources that we're going to walk away with. And then that leads us to, how do I take what I'm doing and authentically pay homage to the traditions that I'm sharing? Right? So many of us that are teaching yoga are not from India. How do I find cultural sensitivity and a way to honor the origins of what I am teaching, so that I know I am doing my best to be an authentic individual who honors the traditions? And also, should I choose to share this in a different area with a different culture, like here, like Belize or Greece, wherever you choose to lead a retreat or have a studio, even in the States, understanding what it means to pay land acknowledgement to the cultures that are present in the area in which you live. And I'm talking ancient cultures, not just like the culture of downtown Sarasota, Florida, which isn't what we're talking about, right?
Right.
So being able to acknowledge the history of the land, which is part of why we're doing this excursion, and understand why we are here where we are, and pay homage and respect and gratitude for that. And how do we do that as individuals and teachers, acknowledging where we come from? And how do we share with our students the importance of doing that? Because that's truly what makes this a sustainable practice. As an industry, yoga is on the precipice of either becoming extremely commercialized form of exercise, or a therapeutic, holistic practice from ancient traditions that is spread far and wide, which can be an absolutely beautiful, wonderful thing. It's not bad to be a redheaded, white, cisgender girl yoga teacher, if I'm doing everything in my power to be authentic to the traditions, to walk the path as much as I can for myself. And it's easy to fall off of that track when you're in the Western mindset of I have to pay my bills. And so we want to find ways to do that. So we'll be talking about finding your authentic voice, cultural sustainability, cultural sensitivity, where I'm teaching, what should be blended together. How many cultures should be blended into one workshop, for example, and why are we doing that, right? And then that extends beyond to how do we interact as businesses and teachers and individuals in the wellness profession. So strategies for your business, retreat planning. We'll have Sam and Julia come back in and share with us their experience as retreat center owners. And we'll come away with tips and tricks for how do we find a retreat center, should we decide to lead one, that really resonates with what we want our students and clients to experience. And how do we work with them in a way that respects everybody and everybody walks away enriched by the experience, physically, mentally, emotionally, monetarily, getting what they need to move forward with their lives so that we can do this for a living, which is what we're all hoping to do, right?
And we also will be able to talk through what a retreat could look like for you. We have been really intentional in our setup that we wanted it to be educational. So that's 20 hours over 6 days. Just a couple of hours a day, but it allows us all as business owners to not have the excuse of, oh, I could never afford to do that for myself, because you're actually learning. So it's actually a business expense for you,
But not like teacher training.
but not teacher training learning. We wanted this to be a time to be able to retreat, to reflect, to spend time by yourself, to connect with community. And that is why, one of the reasons why we wanted to incorporate these beautiful cultural experiences for you all as well. So in addition to the CEUs, which will happen over the course of the 6 days, we have a couple of different excursions off-site. So we're going to Tunich, which is a beautiful Mayan temple, just on the border between San Ignacio in Belize and Guatemala. And it is, you take a hand crank ferry to get there. You go up a hill that has forests filled with howler monkeys on one side. And this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's absolutely stunning. The carvings are beautiful. You really feel a sense of place, a sense of history when you're there. It's thousands of years old. These cultures predate ours. This has been here since before all of the modern accoutrements that come, and learning the history of that space is splendid.
And it's a guided tour.
A guided tour.
And it's included in your ticket.
Included in the ticket price,
Just
and
show up.
it's just outside of San Ignacio, so there is the potential that if we don't spend all of our time at Tunich, we'll be able to go to San Ignacio, which has a beautiful local market. Lots of wonderful craftspeople, fruits and vegetables from local farmers, and gorgeous. And then we also have a half-day excursion to get a little bit of beach time. We'll be in Hopkins Beach, in Hopkins Village on the coast. And then we are also, as we mentioned earlier, doing the cacao ceremony with Julia. So those are all really allowing us to ground ourselves in this sense of space beyond just grounding here within Sattva Land. So we have the excursion to Tunich, we have the excursion to Hopkins Beach, we have the cacao ceremony here on site. So you really get to fully immerse all of your senses in what it means to be here in Belize, what it means to be here in Central America, what it means to be part of this rebirth, and not just rebirth, because we're part of the living history of the Mesoamerican cultures that were here before, and how we can preserve them for future generations to learn from and enjoy.
And it's important to note that none of this is required.
If you are just, you know what, I'm wiped out, I don't feel like doing it,
I don't want to go to the beach. I want to take a
perfectly
nap,
fine.
right?
Perfectly
That's
fine.
the beauty of it too. It's none of this is, there's no have to while you're here. And that's beautiful as well. You get to, and you have the option to if you wish. So that's important. Things that might not be included in the ticket price. We want to just go over what is included.
Sure, yeah, basically everything from, so what is not included is your flight. So if we don't know where you're flying from. So we don't know how to, that flight could be $6,000 or $300. So your flight is not included, but your airport transportation is 5-night accommodations here at Sattva Land. All of your meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, including usually they do a picnic lunch or a to-go lunch on the day that we have an all-day excursion. All of your anything that all the educational programming that we have, as well as any of the excursions that we do, all the transportation for that is included.
Materials and gifts.
Including
locally sourced presents for you.
Also including any of the templates that Denver's mentioned. We have templates from what we've put together. I have marketing templates. All of that stuff is available to all of you.
If you decide you'd like to book a massage for yourself while you're here, that is not included. You'll be given information on how to do that and what the pricing will be and what day. So you can book that within the next couple of weeks on our website. And then any additional purchases that you make on our excursions, if you want to buy some gifts for people at home, if you want to go shopping in the eco shop, one of the children of the founders of Sattva Land is an artist. Her name is Gloria. She has this absolutely beautiful artwork that's all mandalas with different things inside of them,
Yeah.
different themes. Those are beautiful. So you might want to pick up a print there. Some copal incense, which is a local resin that you can burn and bring the experience home with you. Chocolate bars, you might be getting a little bit of that from us, but you might want to buy more to bring home, and some textiles as well. So you might want to go shopping while you're here. You might want to get a massage. You might want to just come and be and buy your ticket and just show up.
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
We'll go through the pricing so that you have an idea of what to look for, and we wanted to make sure that it was both affordable as it can be, and had different tier options. So in the garden house, a shared room in the garden twin starts at $2,125. That's two singles, so you'd be sharing with one other person. The next step up from that is the Shala twin, so that's shared with 3 people That's that more modern facility that we talked about, a more traditional composting toilet there. Your own, the bathroom just on directly in your room. And that is $2,355. And then the final tier is the Shala King, which, as Denver mentioned, has the king size bed and another single. If you're one person and you'd like that room to yourself, it's $3,605.50. And then if you add any additional people, it's just the program and meal costs that get added. So it's $1,475 extra for each person you want to bring. And again, that just ensures that we cover airport transportation, all of the excursions, all the meals and all of that stuff for them. We wanted to make sure that that was even more affordable. So we have a built-in payment program. So it's a 25% deposit. 25-cent deposit would be great. It's a 25% deposit at the time of booking. And then essentially an additional quarter is due at a date. So September, November, and December.
By January 1st, I believe.
I think it's January 5th, but yes, September, November, and January, each additional quarter is due. So
So the beautiful thing about that is we are taking payments through PayPal. So you can use PayPal credit. You can do Afterpay through PayPal as well. If you want to break those payments up even more to make it a little bit more affordable. Let's also note that this is an excellent Christmas gift to ask for from the people that you love. And also a business expense. So there's a twofer there.
and it is happening, of course, in 2025, which allows us, if you're budgeting and you don't know how to do that, we can talk about it. But if you're budgeting you can budget for it in your 2025 budget. So we've got plenty of time to make sure that you're allocating funds that you can afford to do that, whether you're choosing to take that on as a personal expense or you're running that through the business as a business expense.
I also know in the yoga business, January is one of the busiest times of year. So we were very intentional in placing this retreat in February, which is after the January rush of students and programs. But during a time of year where if you live in a colder climate, you are ready for a break to go somewhere warm and sunny and grounding and nurturing. So we are here from February 6th through the 11th of 2025. What day of the week is that?
It's a Thursday, so it's a Thursday through a Tuesday. So the great thing about that, of course, is that if you're in office Monday to Friday, you're not taking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. You've got the end of one week and just the beginning of the other. And again, because the flights are so easy to get here from most of the country, it's not a 14-hour or 16-hour travel day if you're coming from most of the Eastern United States. It's a pretty quick flight to get here.
Also, we intentionally wanted travel days that were going to be more affordable for airline tickets. That's why we went Thursday
To Tuesday instead of like a Friday to whatever. Yeah. So was there anything else we're missing?
No, you have the option to extend your stay, of course. What you might do in that case is take the shuttle to the airport on departure day and then rent a car. So we'll provide information if anybody chooses to do that either after their stay or before their stay. We can coordinate because all of that is right on the same block, right across the street, in fact. And if you really feel you need to rent a car while you're here to have the option to go and come, we'll provide that information for you as well.
And of course, if you wanted to continue your stay here at Sattva Land, they do also offer nightly accommodations as well. So if you were like, I just didn't get enough time in a natural pool, I want to hang out here forever, or you want to talk to them about buying a parcel of land and building a house here, you can spend as much time here as you want to.
Yeah.
I would love to open it up for questions if anybody has any. I know we covered a lot of ground today, so there might not be any. Denver's going to go and check the Facebook Live really quickly. We want to be sensitive to the fact that it is 2:02 Eastern Standard Time. So if you have to hop off, we totally understand, but we'd love to answer any questions that you have. So for those of you who have joined through Zoom, if you want to use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. If you're joining on your phone, you might need to swipe one way or the other to see the Q&A option come up.
Hi, Layla. I know you live here and I love you and I'm following your journey and I'm so happy for you. Hi, Sherry, Jennifer, Barbara. Hi, Jonathan. I love you. Elizabeth. Okay, so Elizabeth Nix is probably not on anymore, but I just have to tell you, she's my teacher. She is the person I wanted to be when I grew up. She is my heart and soul. I will get emotional talking about Elizabeth to the ends of the earth. Thank God for her. She is the reason why I am a yoga teacher. So,
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you.
just want to tell her I love her so much. It just touches my heart. Melissa's here. Hi, Jason. Hi, Kimberly. Hi, Rachel Casellas. Hi, Christina. Hi, Sally. Hi, Eileen. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Nicole. Hi, everybody. We're so happy. Thank you for being here.
So it doesn't look like we've had any other questions come in, but you can always reach out to us. We just launched the new landing page for Entreprenew. So you can go to yogateachersupport.com/Entreprenew 2025. That's ENTREPRENEW. It's entrepreneur and renew smushed together.
You're so
intentionally.
smart. That was her.
And so you can reach out to us using the features on yogateachersupport.com, or you can email me directly at emily@penndaily.com, or email Denver directly at
office@yogateachersupport.com.
awesome. And we hope to see all of you in February. It would be a joy to have all of you down here and be able to share this beautiful space with you. The toucans just started calling again, so I think I'm going to try and go hunt them down since Denver didn't let me see the one earlier.
All right. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thanks, everybody. Bottom right hand corner. There you go.